So welcome everyone for another after work live stream here right on this public holiday, but self-employed. Or we say in Germany, selbst und ständig. Constantly. The only constant is working yourself. Even on public holidays. So, yeah, Linux update. So we have somewhat great success. I built this, of course, this. And previous video right today making a PowerPC, a better IBM PowerPC optimized distribution than even freaking IBM. But that's what you expect here, right on this channel, right? That's why you share, like, and subscribe, and hang out here for all this good stuff. So we have tiny little bit more work to do. Some mainline, aka also okay, this is hold it. By the way, if you know, not two daemons running. I have my wind farm daemon running, and anyway, I have one shell script running for the fence and one Lua C++ stuff for my memory-based CPU load. It's if you have RGB, too much RGB on your workstation. So stuff we have to do. By the way, did I already SVN up for the latest and greatest data? Did we not run data? Did data do nothing? Data is still running. What is data doing? I think data is doing some nonsense. But one thing we want to do is, of course, update the Linux kernel. I think this is new also. Quality work at the Linux kernel upstream continues, not only deleting good old stuff like command console, frame buffer based console scrolling, but also trying a little bit. If you see Linux kernel update pro tip, if it's like one commit, then it's like that's some important fix. Showstopper. So this is a recurring theme where I wonder, like, maybe slow is faster, and yeah. But we want to update that, of course, and we tested already. Alright, I pre-tested that, but I think we had to modify nothing. So yeah, just revert that builds the other live stream. I already know that for the next major update we can just commit that, and of course I don't commit the one important bug fix missing, patch 2T2. That is obviously pointless. We obviously go straight to that. And that is not the only thing I would make a live stream for, just this thing, but we have here some showstoppers for also this merge shit here. I mean, as much as I'm not a fan of Git, this bloody merge artifacts will soon trigger me too. I mean, otherwise, I'm totally happy with Subversion, but this merge artifacts that I need to revert every merge is you know what, I should actually, if you do it more than once, I should put it actually into freaking cleanup script. So APR and libtool, because the libtool and APR are the two things. Where is libtool? Did I revert that already, or what do we even have in there? Obviously we don't want to, this was just a test from yesterday, obviously. But if you need strace in an init or T2 ISO, then that is how you would do it there in this build second stage thing. Slightly wonder, do we not have, there's libtool. So libtool and APR util we want in the tag, and then we finally freaking release it, because then even my patience and dedication comes to an end. But you can obviously Patreon and OnlyFans and GitHub sponsor and GoFundMe. And then we finally need to do microkernel. So yeah, fence just kicked in a little bit. That is, and my RGB directly programmable 8 by 2. Actually, you know what? If I use more of this memory, I actually would have 4 times 8 LEDs. Cheers. Okay, we actually don't need to waste electrons. That patch, all this patch stuff still applies. It's good enough for me. So the thing is that security RFC section? I really wish they would more often CVE. Hey, CVE. Lockdown, also lockdown, previous KGB. What's the freaking heck? Oops. Interesting, interesting. This is a rare thing. Doesn't KDB does not sound that dangerous, but just to troll people or be a professional, there you have it. There are probably more, but usually we only learn later. What we theoretically could do, we could retroactively go through our subversion commit history, and when CVEs become public, retroactively change the commit message of those updates if we really wanted to be totally professional. But we have that, and then we have more stuff to commit. So we cleaned up that. Then let's switch to the trunk. Because nothing to overdo your hobby projects release management. Architecture Power PC, we want to commit this earlier work that we now fully built and mostly works. Mostly because the 32-bit build is still larger, but I wonder, did we, let's quickly, did we, let's, if we are lucky, this still works. Also, we SVN switched. Oops. Maybe it does not work. There's some demolition going on outside. Big city life. Unfortunately not endorsing this public. What am I? Right, we're just stupid. Because sometimes we are. So let's see. Yeah, so I think there is still something imperfect because this should not be a little bit larger, except if we not build Go or other stuff, but it doesn't look like that. So theoretically, I would say there is still more work to do. There is something fishy, especially, although, so that this 6432 ISO is a little bit smaller is to be expected because we don't build Fortran, Go and ADA for that, because it somehow strangely breaks that. I didn't quite understand why, but it's not the most important. If you need Fortran, Go or other professionally, then if you Patreon, GoFundMe and stuff, then I fix that. But until then, it's like, you have that for all the other architectures, just not for Spark 6432 or PowerPC 64-32. So yeah, that is to be expected. That might be mostly Fortran, Go and ADA, but that 32-bit is larger than LE is somehow strange. It's better but not perfect, and yeah, I mean, we could put this onto the to-do, because as long as it otherwise mostly works for me, except previous video near the 3D acceleration, right? Something, especially as this should have 4K pages in the 64. Yeah, but again, more sharing, liking, and subscribing. So, but more stuff to commit. That is, let's switch again. Not perfect, but better. And then let's commit this page size stuff here and here. Fixed. And so that was that. And more has been merge shit. Although I reverted all this bloody merge stuff, and I guess we will get it back in just a second. But it comes from using old-fashioned version control systems. Welcome, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this and learned something. So the next thing would be, cheers. We need to merge some stuff. For that we probably better switch to, oh wait, let me just quickly check what, I think something's up with data, because it should auto-suspend and it didn't. Just don't want to share all the IP addresses here. Although I certainly should. This was just a bloody. This was stalling. Okay, this was stupid. That was actually. Wait a second. I probably should. You know what? You get that. That was just this, the SSL certificate. We probably. You know what? Let's put this on the to-do. The recurring theme of using our own shit. Maybe we should ship CA certificates by default, so that all Let's Encrypt stuff works on our without questioning the user whether they really wanna trust the cert. That would, but this is for another day. I don't do that today. Okay, so then data can do its thing. Our previous video, right? Our package bot. So to merge and real world, right? Real world. This is a boring life. If you want to go into software engineering, I mean, not only that, this is mostly a real world software engineering, kind of, sort of, minus you might use Windows or Mac OS and not this precious Linux, or you might use Git instead of Subversion, or you might use UI tools because you like Visual Studio stuff. Certainly not Xcode, peak-bugs. But yeah, otherwise, this is what release maintaining, release architecting looks like. Which is cherry picking, like fixing shit, having other people fixing stuff, and cherry picking the stuff until everything just freaking works TM and there is not one more thing left. So we want, oops, we want that. Why is SVN merge not in my, so much work? I probably need to increase, you know what, another to do. The to do is growing. It's an illness. It's like cancer and stuff. Default bash history, settings, because I think we should increase that for modern systems to like 10,000 stuff, because I'm constantly running out of history, and I could configure that, but not only do I prefer to have my Linux distribution in this default that makes sense for me, but also if it annoys me, then it probably annoys also other people. If you are a power user, and probably we should change defaults to match power user use cases. So where's my mouse cursor? Recurring theme. Working copy path can only what? What working copy pass always? Alright, I did this wrong. I need C for commit. Hello? Internet? Merge, obviously. Change, revision. Somehow internet is slowish, but it is drop frames. Come on, you can do it. So yeah, this merge info is annoying. I'm not really sure why we get a conflict there. We could certainly research that, but we could also, yeah, I don't know what, but it doesn't matter. Maybe we changed that before to system tool or something. So I think libjpeg also failed. I initially did this only for cleanup, but in the meantime it somehow also failed, I think. So that should be that one. And yeah, do you need UI stuff? For me, I find it always crazy. It looks, leave in the comments below. Is it, by the way, do you find it more efficient to work with UI tools like Xcode or Visual Studio? I personally usually, is it like, am I biased of 20 years of command line stuff? But I mean, especially if I start to like grab, cut, Z, grab, sort, Unix stuff and for whatever, then my impression is it's like 10 times, 100 times more efficient than UI stuff for Mac OS or Windows, but leave in the comments below. So I think that was everything I built that with, so that would be, do we even have an overview? Hopefully we have, so that should be maybe first, yeah, pro tip, first div that, but we just merged that for that, and was it all? This is unfortunately, yeah, maybe I need to open a bug report and stuff. This is so annoying. This looks completely, entirely pointless. I have no idea what's going on with this bloody svin merge info shit. So, remove that, add that. Probably looks good, merged. Oops. So that would be 5.7. I mean, the only thing is copy and pasting this text, which, I mean, if you are not as dedicated, you could just not have the text, but I like to have the text in there, so it's an extra effort for me, as you see constantly as we are logging, blaming and reverting and merging and stuff. In my opinion, pro tip, that is long-term very helpful. Some more internet sucks. How's our 3,000 drop frames, 8.9%. Of course, internet sucks. So what I do, I mean, I kind of sort of do that as job. I said it before, recurring theme here. I founded my company actually for this stuff, just that embedded Linux and open source is extremely tough to sell. As tough as these unusable drop frames are. So let's see here, even more money. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous bad internet. Bloody. So yeah, let's see if that goes through. LTE, you can't make this stuff up. It's hilarious. Fix that. So one more thing to merge is so just committed data already committed some stuff. Oh, better has procs. Protobuf. Wait, is that even a real thing here? Maybe, probably. So this page size stuff, and what was the other was 6.3. Is it probably go through? Interesting. Looks like that is indeed. So change the naming, I guess. So then merge that here. Yeah. Why did this not merge? Hello? What is with the Spark config? Alright, there was some boot. Alright. I guess okay, we could actually commit this to the trunk as a reminder, but why did this stuff not merge? No, it did something. Why did it not do that before? What if, I don't know. Not clear, it should have worked. Okay, whatever, no, it worked. So one log. I mean, we could take one last, I mean, after I've already spent way too much time in over-engineering or over-release engineering live on this channel. Alright, merged. Probably need to run this stuff from some init script. Or should we just... I mean, how should we... I mean, maybe we first... Wait a second, what was with this boot I think the boot chooser... How was it? I think this was Zilo versus grub2, which does not yet support. So we definitely need to keep Zilo support for 32-bit Spark. I switched to that T2 trunk, yeah. And then what else do we have here? Welcome everyone tuning in. Right, the unfortunate poor PC situation here. What else do we find? It is not the easiest to compare. that would be, I mean, because the package selection is also not identical. 64, 32. I mean, I think the package selection for those two should be the same or not. I think that should be, I mean, we could theoretically, although the other is, that one is using 64. I mean, yeah, it's crazy that, what is the 32-bit one? It's crazy that the 64K page version is smaller than the other minimal. Yeah, so those are not identical because Firefox crashed anyway. So that would be either that or 64, 32. I mean, even, okay, we have more binaries, we can't really compare it like that. Okay, I mean, here this GCC is significantly, but that shouldn't be, this is, I mean, if I had this fancy like clustering, like not SGI file, 3D file manager, but this KDE had this one of the earliest, who else supports it nowadays, is clustered views of, okay, that is entirely identical. Well, or like quite, I mean, this is pretty close. And that is also pretty close. I mean, could it be that this is only, I mean, we could compare the tarballs, the packages. With that, we should see rather quickly where that is coming from. So GCC maybe even with human readable sizes. So LLVM, yeah, even LLVM is larger. This is strange. But okay, GCC, I mean, GCC is quite some. Which we have Go, Fortran and Ada in there. LVM is, yeah, there must be something. There must still be something. What do we have with Mesa? Mesa is 25. Mesa is 15. I mean, this should be, why should this be so much larger? They should be both 32-bit. They should be more identical than this. I mean, subversion is pretty close, 20 and 20. But there is definitely some strange stuff. I mean, not only should they be quite identical, the 32-bit ones should be smaller, unless extremely strange stuff is going on. But this is, of course, detective work, but 5, where do we have? Oh, this is not a title. 6. I mean, those are quite similar. 500, although, I mean, a little smaller. Where would be? I mean, we could script a for loop. I mean, how much more was it? We could script a for loop and compare all the files and print. I mean, this is how you would normally then start doing it, I would say. I mean, unless you really know what the issue is. They are identical, that is funny. What is then the major difference in those two versions? Okay, those are not really big. What is Vulkan? Surprisingly small and identical sized. Yeah, so that is a little bit... Even the Radeon driver has the same size. Actually, wait a second, it could be, you know what it could be? It could be linking in LLVM stuff into something because LLVM was... Maybe I should check the comments. Because LLVM, I mean, that shouldn't... I mean, it's not that significant, but actually we could compare the LLVM. Yeah. What would be some... like... It's of course ironic that we built this with x86. What was our target? Eight, 9 disassembler to 1. Okay, that is identical. Okay, it is not. What else is? It's not that easy somehow. Even those are pretty close. That is crazy. There must be something. I mean, besides it's crazy that this is 160 megabyte, but yeah, so this is expected, right? The 32-bit one slightly. What is an even freaking major different? Ah, here is also Alip Kling. Do we, or maybe we don't build, but this should not be. Yeah, so I guess we would need to iterate over all those files. I mean, we could diff those. RDNF lists. And they don't have a size. What But they're identical. Cool. That makes me even wonder more why that is. And this is compressed, right? Maybe we quickly for loop over that as we already spent so much dedication to this stuff. But this is also, if you wonder how open source people find bugs, right? If you some major news of this, that, and it's like people like that sitting here, noticing something. I mean, with the page size, right? Halfway we are already there, but there's still something more left. So for f in or cut the limiter field to the end of list. Oh my, readf do, and then lz and PowerPC 64. So now we have each of those binaries next to each other, and I saw already some differences scrolling. I mean, it's crazy, so how close? I mean, here what? Some are identical, and what is not identical? LLVM diff is different, but that even is slightly bigger. There must be something more major. It's a little bit hard to read. Maybe I should have. Maybe we should ls that with D to not list directories. Oops. What do we have here? LVM. Maybe I should even print an extra new line after each. Where is the major change coming from? Ah, you know what? I know what it is. It's not that. Ah, you know what it is? It is, I outsmarted myself, but good that we double checked that. And this is a recurring theme. You always need to have so many variables at the back of your mind. It is a set standard compression. I changed that recently as a feature. They are simply less compressed. That is the thing. Because we noticed like uncompressing on like a 486 or any other vintage stuff, even P3 or this kind of stuff. So to optimize installing on those vintage architectures, the ISOs are simply significantly less compressed. But good that we did the exercises. We hopefully learned some stuff. But yeah, then we can scratch that to do. There, that is now probably all fine. It's of course a little bit confusing. I mean, I was hesitating to change this compression level. That is somewhere, where would that be in builds? Yeah, here, so Ultra 20 versus 16. So yeah, that makes quite a difference. I wired the two. If it's 16-bit, then if it's a 16-bit 64-bit architecture, then freaking compress more. That I thought it's a good. Yeah, good that we keep this in mind the next time. As long as we bisected that, we will probably remember in the future. Okay, then. I guess that should then mostly be it. At least we solved that mystery. Theoretically, so it's hilarious. Anyway, I guess the last things are merged. Kernel updates we have done. Data is also done. PS3. That's hilarious. If you know why this happens, I probably should file a bug report to Subversion if this. I mean, on the other side, we don't do this massive amount of release engineering often, so probably it's not that bad. It's extremely rare. It's just like after spending 6 extra months on this release engineering, gotta be a good release. This is why I continue to polish this stuff, because it's always like one more thing and one more thing. It's like, it makes no sense to spend so much effort and then have some small things. I mean, there is, by the way, did I add there is still some poor PC grub install wrapper imperfection. But this is not the most amazing, but I need to call it quit here eventually. Why do we have here lib64 in here? Where is it coming from? No idea where that came from. So I guess it's pretty darn perfect now in the meantime. We could, for one last thing, and then I go home. Do we have here any? There's no date tool. There's a bunch of tools around filling with date and times. Amazing stuff. Yeah, as usual, if you miss something, if there is some bug or imperfection, leave in the comments below. This certainly is the imperfection that 3D stuff doesn't work. That is really sad. But there is only so much I can fix. Other people abandoned and deleted stuff. So yeah, that's what release engineering looks like, right? And yeah, it's work. People always think like in the thumbnail, like Hollywood style hacking and stuff, but this is the reality. This is IT, computer science and stuff, lots of concentrated, boring, recurring theme, attention to detail. And the only constant is change and fixing bugs and regressions. Yeah, I guess we can finally release that soon. I think I probably rebuilt most things and ISOs. And the only thing is we probably want to binary size sanity check. Do we need, the question is, you can always, like we want in the future not only write a microkernel but test more, not to spend so much manual labor. As you see, if you can automate stuff, running QEMU and stuff, but even previous video, right, some month ago, even automating tests is a lot of work, right? QA engineering and stuff, release engineering, everything is boring and tedious and stuff, or maybe it's not boring, leave in the comments below. Probably the thing is, perception will change. 20 years ago, probably I found it amazing, but after doing it 20 years, like eventually it's like, yeah, 20 years ago it was fine, but rinse and repeat 20 years, it's like, okay, eventually got enough from that. Although, to be fair, I didn't automate Linux ISO install testing for 20 years, so that is a new thing. But mostly also because it's a waste of time, getting boring. the thing is, do we need to test binary size sanity check? It shouldn't, the famous last words, right? It shouldn't constantly fluctuate like a warp drive. But the other thing is, for example, test low memory install, right? So do we need, like, and how do we want to do it? Do we, I mean, checking that some binaries are not like a megabyte size, or like we could like, what should the sanity check be? Because it depends for all the architectures and C libraries. Although we could for now probably say all the cat binaries should not be larger than 64K, because it, or hey, 68K for obviously page size, right? 64. But this is also the thing, right? IBM recommendation in previous video, 64K page size is like, yeah, no other architecture has that here anywhere. But so we could, for example, with this outliner, and that is the thing, right? If you say, okay, normally it shouldn't be like 64K because it's just like some small tiny little thing. If it's significantly larger, than some strange stuff is going on, except like, yeah, PowerPoint 64. But I mean, we could like for now call it 72K for 64K page filling with zeros to satisfy IBM's geeks and strange needs, and like, yeah, until that fails. But I mean, just to make sure it's not like this debug symbols and other crazy stuff is going on. But yeah. Anyway, so because the test is maybe potentially a little bit superfluous, like if the binary size is vastly off, and if we test low memory install stuff for installing with like 200, I mean, like low memory, and nowadays installing low memory Linux like 256K ought to be enough for everyone, doesn't it? Yeah, if we test, but I mean, yeah, you can never test enough, but I mean, we could like unprioritize like that, like make, what is with my keyboard? Hello, keyboard? What's now going on? Hello? Something is, whatever was messed up there. We could like at the end, like, yeah, maybe first low memory install test is easier. I mean, we test install that, and also maybe that's not the primary thing. Yeah, like boot kernel has like this stuff boots and stuff, and then also this stuff boots with, oops, shit, did I delete something? I have the feeling I deleted what I just said. Yeah. But now we got to finally release this stuff. Probably leave it another 24 hours or like until next. Yeah, I anyway said previous video, right? It makes no sense to do 99% of the work and then ruin it the last 1%, especially release announcements, public relation, PR stuff. Nobody reads on weekends anyway. So I let this think a little bit. Let people. I probably refresh those ISOs. However, without clearing this, I also need to improve my build all driver here, but like reconfig that, retarget that, and like not sleep here, or like, okay, wait a second, let's maybe sleep a little bit today. It's like, okay, fine, like one time. And it should only regen famous last words, the ISOs anyway, just to make sure we don't have anything missing and everything is fine. And yeah, a little bit testing, a little bit using our own stuff. Why does this rebuild this stuff? Or did this, maybe this previously failed. That could be, you know what, this is actually building something. What is it, open risk? I know one build, at least one build failed with this. This is why I also merged this, obviously, right in the beginning of this video. Which even is that? Where is it? x86. Okay, fine, whatever. We fixed that. Yeah, so that's it then for this video. I hope you learned something, especially that all this, it's like, yeah, running Linux distribution for 20 years, right? Only, it's priceless. It's only invest half of your life. Yeah, that's it for this video. What else do we have there? Kinda important installer. Is kinda important for installer. What you think? T2 notify. It wasn't built like we built earlier ones. I think it's optional, right? I mean, you probably can build more stuff. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, that's also the point of this flexibility. I mean, people should use those ISOs or those default configurations if you like, if you are an embedded engineer, or like if you build some digital signage stuff and don't only want frame buffer stuff. I mean, like if you know what you're doing and don't build with all this stuff, then you don't build with all this stuff, right? But anyway, we will see. The to-dos is too long, but it's always share, like, subscribe, fill bugs, test the stuff, send us a Discord, comment, and share, like, subscribe and stuff, and enjoy your evening.